Hi, I'm Yolonda Kerney. I'm the Public Affairs Officer at U.S. Embassy Bridgetown, where I'm lucky I have an ambassador who's a former physics professor, so thank you for making it all look easy. So around the world at our embassies, we still have people who draw a tremendous amount of inspiration from NASA. We were lucky enough to host Neil deGrasse Tyson for a lecture in November. A little 6-year-old came up to him and asked him, what if there were no NASA? So he gave a beautiful response. But I'd like to know what your message is for us around the world as we talk about the influence of NASA still. What if there were no NASA? That's for Jim or Roy, or whoever wants to take it.
You asking me?
Yes.
That's a good question as well. Well, you know, I still remember when there was no NASA. Yeah, I've been at this game a long time. And so, you know, and then there was a NACA. It was mostly an aeronautics thing. And so what got people interested was the space race. Of course, the Russians put a Sputnik up, and well, we had to get a satellite up, and then they put a man in orbit. Well, we had to do that. It was mostly like that. But as time went by, there was a very excellent science program developed in NASA. It's like a National Science Foundation embedded in NASA. And everything is done, it's a meritocracy, everything is competed. Every mission we do, like this one, was heavy competition to pick the people who do it, and so nothing is just given to anybody. So people are very interested in the space science and are willing to go to school and learn more about it and compete with other people to get to do these missions. If NASA ceased to exist, I think what we know about space, about the universe, really would just cease. We wouldn't know anymore. That's it. I mean, it used to be close to the Earth. There's the Navy and the Air Force fly some satellites, but all that kind of stuff we mostly know about. But farther out, we wouldn't. We'd be looking to the Europeans, the Japanese, the Indians, the Chinese. We'd be reading their journals instead of ours. Sorry, Jim.
No problem. I think I'll add, and sorry, Jim, I don't remember a time before NASA. I think that NASA provides a fundamental impetus for science in this country. I think that it's a partnership. You see a representative here. I work for NASA, Jim for a company, Roy for university. So you see the difference. I think NASA provides a force that helps unify and provide inspiration to the nation to do this great science. So I think that at the time that, what would happen without NASA, I think you'd lose something. You rely. The individuals are spread throughout. They're at the universities. They're at the corporate world. But I think that the NASA's role is really to lead, help lead people into a common direction that will really benefit the whole nation in unsuspecting ways. We really don't know. As you heard here today, we're really interested in the fundamental physics of magnetic reconnection and then how it relates to activity in space. But yet there may be an offshoot of understanding about fusion reactors here on the ground. Throughout NASA's history, there has always been that dual nature of pure science and yet practical application. So I think that's, I would say, the role.
If I could respond, just because I teach undergraduates on a regular basis and graduate students too occasionally, but I can just say very simply, NASA provides really that spark for imagination, which is really important for education.
Any further questions?
May I add?
Yes,
please?
certainly.
Just an hour or two ago, I was lucky enough to visit the Apollo Saturn V Center here on Kennedy Space Center. And I took the occasion to see this 14-minute video show that they have about the moon landings. And through that video and at the end of it, there were some interviews with astronauts. And Alan Shepard, I believe it was Alan Shepard, related his experience standing on the moon, looking back at the Earth, and contemplating how unfortunate it is that back there on that small lifeboat in space, people are busy fighting each other in conflict. And he said he actually shed tears And I think that one of the important functions of NASA really is to give ourselves an opportunity to see ourselves in a broader context and understand that this is sort of a lifeboat Earth, and to perhaps imagine a little bit better the futility of the conflict that we engage in all too often. And so I think that that's something that NASA has brought to many people's consciousness and will continue to do so in the future. And I think that's a really important role for NASA.